What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am bringing you a deck that I've wanted to bring you for a little while, and that is a deck centered around Metagross-GX. And yes, before you say anything, I know, once again, for the second time this week, I am a tournament too late, because Metagross really didn't have... Actually, it didn't even show up in the top 8 of the North American International, but regardless, I've been super busy, so I've had to push back decks that I've wanted to do, and this is still a very, very cool deck. So I'm bringing it to you anyway. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you guys liked this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, and click that subscribe button. It helps us out immensely and lets us do a lot of cool stuff for you guys. And as for the question of the day, I thought about doing this with the last one, but I decided not to. And the question is, what is the best card in this format? Like, what card do you think... I guess it comes down... Okay, I'm just going to say, what is the best card in this format? Now, you can take best to be, to mean whatever you want. You can take best to be, like, what card is, like, in every deck, is something that you have to have, is something that you'd be at a detriment to be without, or you can choose to take it as what card is the most impactful in the meta. Now, by either definition, two cards immediately come to mind. One of them is in this deck, and that is Tapu Lele. I mean, Lele is... Wow, I'm voice cracking like crazy, guys. I am very sorry. Tapu Lele is undeniably one of the best cards, actually, probably to ever be printed. I mean, at this point, it is arguably one of the best cards ever to be printed, just because, I mean, it has an incredible ability with Wonder Tag. I mean, it's... People were running the 90 HP Jirachi EX for its ability, but this Lele can actually even attack with Energy Drive, which is Mewtwo's X-Ball just can't hit for weakness. I mean, that's incredible. It's an attacker that works in literally any deck. I mean, Energy Drive, 2 colorless energy. Boom. You can attack with it in any deck except for, like, random energyless decks, but those aren't competitive to begin with. So Tapu Lele is an easy answer for the best card in this format, because it's arguably one of the best cards of all time. Another card that you could take the definition of best to apply to is Garbodor, because Garbodor is so incredibly influential in the meta to where cards like Brigette are actually being seen in decks that, like, well, in 2 prize decks. Like, Brigette is being seen more and more because Garbodor is a card and is so incredibly influential in the meta. It's slowed it down to where decks like Metagross, to where you rely on having, like, 2, 3, or 4 stage 2s in play, can be relevant and can have success. I mean, that's... If a single card impacts the meta that incredibly, I have to say that that's in the argument for best card in the current meta. But if you had to ask me, I would go with the card that is used in every single deck that you really can't go without, that you'd be at a detriment in literally any deck to use, and that is Tapu Lele. But let me know what you guys think the best card in this meta is, and why, and which definition you're choosing to go with. But anyway, on to the deck. Like I said, it is centered around Metagross-GX, and this deck list that I'm using is kind of a hybrid of the different deck lists that I saw at the Wisconsin Regionals. I saw things that I liked from some decks, added it in, changed a couple lines, stuff like that, and ended up with this hybrid list is what I'm calling it, but it's mainly based off the one that got second place. But I mean, really, it's just Metagross. Hits for a ton of damage with Giga Hammer, 150 damage. Geotech System allows you to attach discard an energy from the discard pile to your active Pokemon, whether that's Psychic or Metal. And really, you just kind of cycle through Metagross. Metagross is incredibly bulky. Once you get them up, it's not going to go down in one hit. Well, usually. There are instances where Metagross will go down in one hit. But usually that thing's going to be up there for a while, just taking hits, taking names, taking souls, all that good stuff. And you want to have multiple of them, that way you can just retreat out after you use Giga Hammer, bring in a fresh Metagross, attach with Geotech Systems to that one, and go from there. So, yeah, I mean, that's really what the deck is all centered around. It's very straightforward, just hit with a bunch of stuff and keep Metagross alive. As for the numbers of Pokemon, of course we are running 4-3-4 of Beldum through Metagross. Now, when I say of course, I mean the 4-4 of Beldum and Metagross is the of course. Running 3 Metang is not something I usually do. If I run a deck that relies on having 4, and that relies on having 4 of a stage 2, I usually just run a 4-2-4 and then run 3 Rare Candy, which this deck does. But because of Alolan Vulpix and the ability to like just search out, play the slower game, you're able to just evolve into Metang without much drawback. I mean, yeah, this deck is a little bit slower than, well, even by this meta standards, but you're still able to just evolve into Metang and kind of just be like, okay, I don't need a Metagross immediately, just gonna evolve into Metang, evolve a couple more, just kind of take it chill. Just chill out while you evolve up your Metagrosses. So running a heavier line of Metang is actually a must, in my opinion, in this deck. So yeah, definitely run 3 Metang. 1 Dhelmise. Now this was kind of a hit or miss, whether or not people ran that in the Metagross deck. I really like Steelworker, just being able to hit for 10 more damage. I mean, it allows Metagross to one-shot all of the basic EXs and GXs with a Choice Band with Giga Hammer, because otherwise you're 10 damage short on things like Lapras and stuff like that. But I mean, all of the truly relevant EXs and GXs you'll be able to one-shot right now with Choice Band. But there are some instances where you're like, yeah, I just want 10 extra damage, so I included Dhelmise just because, I mean, I like that card. I really do. 2, Lele help us get set up early. I mean, Lele into Brigette turn 1 is the ideal start for this deck. And also, Lele's not a bad attacker. I mean, Metagross, yeah, you usually use Algorithm GX, which is incredibly strong. It's one of the strongest GX attacks in the game, if your opponent doesn't end you, that is. If your opponent ends you, then it's just like, well, I literally just flipped over my counter for no reason. But otherwise, you can use Lele's Tapu Cure, just have 2 Metagross get very damaged, send up Lele, Geotech System a Psychic Energy onto it, and then heal up 2 Metagross completely. It actually has great synergy in this deck, apart from Energy Drive and Wonder Tag being obviously incredible attack and ability on Tapu Lele in general. And then Alolan Vulpix, this guy is amazing. You send it out there first turn, you beacon, helps you set up, and then you basically just beacon until Vulpix dies, and then hopefully by then you have a couple Metagross set up, so your opponent has to play the odd prize game. And that's another reason that Dhelmise is kind of a risky card, because it allows your opponent to take a non-EX knockout, or non-EX or GX knockout. But I don't know, I still like it. Normally with this deck you play the odd prize where you send up Vulpix, your opponent knocks them out, but then they have to knock out 3 Metagross or 2 Metagross and a Lele or something like that. So Vulpix up there, beacons, gets you 2 Pokemon. I mean, it's just incredible. Sorry about that. Got a little click heavy and dragged the TCGO off of the, off center. But yeah, Alolan Vulpix just gets you a couple Pokemon, helps you get set up quickly, all that good stuff, and you attack for free, so you can even just attach 2 Pokemon on your bench, power them up while Vulpix gets you them. As for the items, 2 Field Blower, because Garbotoxin just shuts this deck down completely. You absolutely need Geotech Systems in order, or Geotech System in order to be able to have this deck function properly. So Field Blower, we need to run a little heavier number of those, and also to get rid of Choice Bands in non-Garbodor matchups. Just, yeah, Field Blower, incredibly necessary. 3 Max Potion, because the big thing with this deck is, okay, you fall behind early, and your opponent gets set up, because this deck takes a while to get set up. But after that, the last 3 or 4 prizes, this deck makes incredibly difficult to get because it just denies prizes. Okay, a Metagross gets damaged, you retreat into a new one, and Giga Hammer with that. Then you potentially draw into Max Potion, Tapu Cure. So Max Potion, you definitely need to run high number of that. Running 3 in this deck just, I mean, it's amazing. Max Potion is so great with this deck strategy. 3 Rare Candy to try to go straight from Beldum into Metagross. It's a perfect target for like Geotech System or even Beacon if you draw into a Rare Candy and just need the Metagross, that type of stuff. 1 Rescue Stretcher lets us put Pokemon back in our deck. We don't need Super Rod because we actually like having energy in the discard pile in this deck. So yeah, Rescue Stretcher over Super Rod. 4 Ultra Ball guarantees get us what we want when we want. 4 VS Seeker lets us reuse all of our supporters. And then as for these supporters, have 4-3-2 line of Sycamore, N, and Lysandre, just heavier line of draw supporters, so you don't have to use VS Seeker all that often just to get a draw supporter. It allows you to use your VS Seekers for the more tech supporters that you run in the deck. 2-1, well, not 2-1, sorry. Running 1 Kukui just for a little bit extra damage output with Giga Hammer, because sometimes you just need 20 more damage. So, I mean, that's good for that. One Olympia as a way of kind of pseudo-healing Metagross if your opponent tries to Lysandre stall when you don't have energy in the discard pile to Geotech system. You can Olympia your way out of that. One Karen is kind of a pseudo-counter to Vespiquen decks. I mean, just be like, okay, Karen late game, you run out of a lot of your ways of discarding Pokemon. That's another way of handling that. One Hex Maniac. Even though we like having abilities, Hex Maniac shuts down our opponent's abilities. So in cases where our opponent, like we're even up against a mirror match, shutting down our opponent's Geotech system can buy us a turn that wins us the game. And then, of course, one Brigette, because Brigette has turned into one of the most powerful cards in the, well, one of the most powerful supporters in the current meta, just because it can search for basics which aren't EXs, but that also includes GXs. So yeah, Brigette's super strong. 3 Choice Band just to boost the damage output by Giga Hammer, because Giga Hammer does not do quite enough on its own. So Choice Band just lets us hit the magic 180, and then 8 Metal Energy and 2 Psychic Energy, a couple Psychic Energy for Tapu Lele and Dhelmise, but the rest Metal Energy for Metagross. So yeah, pretty straightforward, but it's still an amazing deck, so let's go ahead and see it in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Drumboy 1011, and I have absolutely zero idea what my opponent is running. There were so many types in there, but should be an interesting match to say the least. Once we see what my opponent is running, that is. We do lose the coin flip. Unfortunately, it looks like somebody else goes with the mantra, Tails never fails, and that's because Tails never does fail unless you get heads, obviously. So 50% of the time, it never fails. So, I mean, that's just what I'm going to go with. And start off with a mulligan, kind of unfortunate right there. I mean, I really would like to start with the Pokemon, you know. But, I mean, hey, if this is what it takes to not start with a Lele, then I guess I can put up with it. And I start with the Beldum. Actually, my hand is not the greatest. I would have liked to have a Metal. That way I can put that in the discard pile. But, I mean, that is the risk you run when you put a couple Psychic into this deck. So, yeah. Honestly, like, not sure what all I'm going to say. Just, as soon as my turn comes, I'm going to put on the Psychic Energy, put on the Choice Band, and then end. But, okay, we see an Aggron and a Mr. Ooh, is this a Mega Aggron deck? That'd be really cool, and also could be a gigantic problem. Yeah, because we see the Shield Energy right there. And if my opponent gets 3 Shield Energy onto his Aggron, onto his Mega Aggron, I will not be able to 2-shot that unless I have a Choice Band. So, see the Clauncher come down? Okay, good. I do have a Shield Energy. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my opponent's Aggron Spirit Link. Get the Metal Energy instead of the Psychic. That way I can retreat and... Okay. Well, that's something. I'm just going to go for a Core Beam and do 40 damage. That was a bad turn. Oh boy, that was a really bad turn. I got absolutely nothing else out. No Lele, no Vulpix, absolutely nothing. So, yeah. Just gonna try to not get destroyed this turn. Oh boy, this is not looking good. See, just another energy. Okay, so at least I'm gonna survive the turn, at the very least, because my opponent will not be able to attack, or at least attack in any capacity that will knock me out. He does end me. There we go. So this is a hand that I really would have liked to have seen last turn. And I need an energy as well. So this is a little bit less than ideal. What I might actually have to do is just play down the Beldum, Ultra Ball for another Beldum, and then Lele for a Sycamore. Or Ultra Ball for the Vulpix and Lele for the Sycamore, or something like that. Because, yeah, so, highly unfortunate right there. So what I'm going to do is Ultra Ball, get rid of the Hex Maniac and the Lele to just grab an Alolan Vulpix, play that guy down, play down the Lele to grab probably... Brigette's probably not going to do me much good. I am just going to grab it in. I'm playing the Lele down, just one less supporter in my deck, which I know sounds weird, and I could have just VS Seekered for that end, but at this point I really just want to get something else going. Like, I really need to get something besides that, well, obviously that, but let's grab actually my third Beldum. So at the very least, I can try to get... I mean, at the very least, I can retreat into my Vulpix and kind of get things going. I have a VS Seeker for an N next turn. Let's go ahead and Beacon, grab a Metagross and a Metang. That way, I can evolve one of my Beldums into a Metagross and then the other into a Metang, and then just N. Putting out Vulpix there to get knocked out. If Vulpix gets knocked out, not the end of the world. And we even see the reverse valley. So my opponent, all he needs is one more shield energy. And I will need a Choice Band to even get a 2-hit knockout. This is not looking particularly good. I mean, if I was... And there's the Fliptini. So he's going to be more than likely able to two-shot my Metagross with whatever Mega Aggron's attack is. I completely forget what that is. But my opponent's able to get completely set up. And honestly, if I didn't have just that dead turn, I think I might be in an okay spot. But because I had that, then it's just kind of like a, well, what do I do now? On the bright side, I am finally getting a Metagross down. There is only one Metal and one Psychic in the discard pile. So, I mean, that's something. I am going to go ahead and try to get another energy, and I get not a Psychic energy, oh, not a Metal energy. I really need a Metal at this point. I'm going to play this onto the Metagross just because, I mean, why the heck not? Might as well. Play the Metang down. Let's go ahead and Geotech System the Psychic onto the Vulpix. That way I have a manual retreat next turn. Wait, no, Giga Hammer hits for 150. So completely disregard what I was saying about not being able to two-shot the Metagross if he has 3 strong energy, if he has 3 shield energy. So I honestly have zero idea what I was thinking. For whatever reason, I'm pretty sure I was thinking that he had that, like, Metagross, the Giga Hammer. No, wait. I was right. Giga Hammer without a Choice Band would still be able to, Giga Hammer without a Choice Band would only be able to 3-shot if my opponent had 3 shield energy. So never mind, I was right. My opponent does knock out my Vulpix and still no Metal energy. I mean, that's not the end of the world. What I can do is just play down. So I have all 3 Metagross. Now I literally just need to see a single Metal energy. That is all I need to see. And I run enough in my deck that I should be able to draw into it. Let's end, and if I see a single Metal energy, I'll be able to knock out my opponent's Aggron, and there we go. Okay, so not gonna lie, I was actually slightly afraid that I was gonna jinx myself with that by saying I just needed a single one, because I've had situations before where I haven't gotten that. So, yep, there we go. Let's go ahead and play that onto the Metagross. I mean, had I gotten a Metal energy last turn, I think, would I have been able to? No, not quite. But either way, we are able to get the first big attack off. Yeah, my opponent took a knockout on my Vulpix, and wouldn't you know it, that attack from the Beldum actually came through, and we were able to knock out the Aggron because of it. So I'm okay with this. Unfortunately, there is a Beldum in my prizes that I can't use to, like, get a 4th Metagross going. So for the time being, I'm just going to kind of sit on the fact that I have 3, and that's, I mean, really, 2 is the absolute minimum that you need in order for this deck to function because you have the manual attachment for turn. But 3 is where this deck really starts to get scary and starts to, like, string together knockouts, be able to just be like, okay, I knock you out, and okay, yeah, my opponent actually makes a very smart play. All I need is 1 energy, though. That's the thing. So let's go ahead and throw the Metal in the discard pile, get rid of the Vulpix to grab. Honestly, I'm just thinning my deck at this point, like, increase my odds of being able to draw into an energy. There we go. So, I mean, I draw into 3 of them, so I really didn't need to do all that much. But there we go. I will be able to not quite get the knockout on this Aggron because I don't have the, I don't have the Beldum. I don't have the damage from the Beldum on there already. But here we go. Let's go ahead and just Giga Hammer, hit the Aggron for some pretty significant damage. 10 damage away from the KO. So even the Dhelmise wasn't able to completely wasn't able to push me over the edge. But here we go. Ooh, this is bad. He's going to be able to hit me for a lot of damage. Is he going to be able to take the knockout? I'm not sure. Raging Hammer, and... wow, he does not get the knockout. Metagross-GX is way too freaking bulky. Jeez. And then I am just going to be able to retreat, put 3 energy in the discard pile, and then Max Potion that. Max Potion up the Metagross. There we go. Thank you, game. And yeah, then I'm just going to be able to Geotech System onto my active and go from there. I'm going to start putting some energy onto the bench. That way, just in case my opponent decides to Lysandre it up, I'll still be able to, Geotech System onto it in order to attack. And I'm holding on to the Sycamore just because I really don't need it right now. And I kind of want to hold on to the different things that I have. And there's the Beldum, so I can actually play the Beldum down and potentially, with a Rescue Stretcher, get a Metagross if I'm able to draw into that. And I really don't want a Sycamore at this point anyway because I'll deck out, and that's a thing that happens. So let's play that there. Well, yeah, okay, my opponent just forfeits. I mean, there's really nothing he could do at that point. My Metagross, I mean, I was fully set up. He was not going to be able to one-shot me. And then I would have been able to stream, like, Max Potions, stream 2-hit knockouts because I had all my choice bands as well. And then it would have just been downhill from my opponent. So, very cool deck idea by my opponent, Fliptini with Mega Aggron. Unfortunately, he just wasn't able to get set up. I mean, not to say that he didn't have time because, yeah, he had a little bit of time, but he just wasn't able to get set up. We were able to get 3 Metagross in play, which any deck is going to have a ton of trouble overcoming that. So, yeah, that was game 1, and let's go ahead and try to find another one with this deck. Alrighty, we have found another one, and, well, Saber Slayer. So I had my fingers crossed for Garbodor, and it looks like we're up against Passimian Mew, which could be a problem, but once I get... it could be a problem early game. Once I get my Mega Metagross set up, then it will not be a problem, and this is nice. This is very nice. Wow. I'm going to be... this is, like, the ideal starting hand, and okay, so it's a Lycanroc deck. Interesting. But, yeah, this hand... wow. This opening hand is amazing. Whew. I mean, if I was going second, it would be... even if I was going second, it would be great, because... and I get a Metang. Well, I am going second. Sorry, I don't know what I'm saying. Guys, I'm losing my mind. No! No! Oh, you! I do not like my opponent. I really do not like my opponent. Okay, never mind. We good. Alright, we cool. We cool. It's all good. It's all good. It's fine. Wow. So, apparently the game just wants me to have a very good hand. So I'm just gonna grab 3 Beldum. Yeah. Let's just grab 3 Beldum. Beacon, probably for a Metang and a Beldum, I guess. Because, I mean, I have... yeah, I mean, I have the ability to get a Metagross next turn. I have the ability to get Evolve to Metang, so I might as well just grab another Beldum, and then I can end my opponent so I can have a fresh hand. So this is... no, don't. Please don't. Oh, I hate my opponent. This is annoying. I mean, okay, don't get me wrong. My opponent's making their best possible play. Like, first turn, the play was obviously to keep me from being able to take advantage of that extra card. Next turn, keep me from being able to abuse Vulpix. And, yeah, so I don't have any of the evolutions that I would have had. I mean, I should be able to get 1 now. So that's something. Let's play a Beldum down, Ultra Ball, get rid of a Metal Energy and the N. Just to grab a Metang. Just play that sucker down, get something evolved, get something going, and then let's Beacon again. Maybe my opponent won't knock out a Pokemon for once, and then if I'm able to get my Metagross up next turn, if my opponent doesn't end me once again, then I'll be able to actually take a not take a knockout yet. I need a Choice Band. But at the very least, I'll be able to hit the Lele for 150. If I get a Choice Band, I'll be able to knock it out. And so, yeah, we do see the Bloodthirsty Eyes come down. He is going to bring up the Metang. That is a very good play by my opponent. Gets another Lycanroc up, so we actually don't have to worry about... Unless my opponent gets a 4th Rockruff down, we don't have to worry about it, and there's the end. So, Vulpix, I love you, but unfortunately you're just not quite doing it because my opponent keeps ending me in this game. And I had to be careful about benching a 5th Pokemon because at that point, Dangerous Rogue GX will be able to one-shot me. Energy Drive actually will put me in range. So I have actually a pretty interesting predicament right here. I can Ultra Ball and grab a Metagross. I mean, I'm obviously going to do that. But the question is, do I want to go ahead and Rare Candy one on the bench and try to draw into it? Or do I want to just evolve the active? I think the better play is to go ahead and Rare Candy up the one on the bench. Because if I draw into a Metagross, then if I draw into a Metagross and an Energy, I'll be able to play that and get an attack off. So unfortunately, I do not, which honestly not too huge of a deal. Actually, if I had just drawn into a Metagross, then I would have been able to knock out the Lele. So, what I'm going to go ahead and do is play the Energy, Field Blower away that Poison Bar because that thing's just going to be annoying. And then let's just Choice Band. No, I don't want a Geotech system because then my opponent would just be a single attachment away from being able to knock out my Metang, which is something I obviously do not want. He's starting to power up he plays Pokemon Center Lady. Man. Well, that's something. And I get a Sycamore. So that's actually pretty nice. But I get rid of a Rare Candy. Honestly, let's just go ahead and Sycamore. Get a fresh hand, see what we can get. Okay, so this is nice. I'll be able to get a knockout on the Lele, and even though my opponent will be able to retaliate with a Dangerous Rogue GX, but, I mean, again, that's an EX, that's a GX for a GX, and yes, I know my GX is a lot tougher to get up and going, but, I mean, it's really not the end of the world. Let's just Giga Hammer, knock out the Lele, and I mean, at least my opponent has to get rid of his GX attack to knock out my Metagross. So, I'll still have 2 on the bench, and if he doesn't knock me out, then I have a Max Potion. So, regardless of what my opponent plays, Birch's Observations. Guys, do not play Birch's Observations. It is just vastly inferior to N. And there's the Dangerous Rogue, so he is able to knock me out. That's unfortunate, but honestly okay at the same time. Now I don't even have to worry about my bench size because it's honestly completely... I mean, I'm in an okay spot. Like, my bench size doesn't matter anymore. He already used his Dangerous Rogue, so now I don't have to worry about playing all that stuff down. And what I am going to do is just go ahead and Rescue Stretcher, immediately grab a Metang to be able to play that down onto the Beldum. How do I want to do this? Do I want to just Kukui? Because if I Kukui and get a Choice Band... Okay, so my Kukui ended up not getting me... I got a little greedy on the Kukui. I was like, well, if I get a Choice Band and a Metal Energy off of that, I'll be able to one-shot the Lycanroc. And no. So, should have gone with just the safe play of playing the Lele down, grabbing an N or a Sycamore. But at the same time, I didn't want to waste it. So, I don't know. I still think... I don't know. I had a good play regardless. Let's go ahead and... Let's see. What do I want to grab? Let's obviously grab a Metal Energy and a Choice Band for sure. Do I want to grab a Metang? Let's grab Hex Maniac Lysandre. Wait, I have a... And a Metang... And a baby Metang? Or... How do I want to do this? So let's actually grab a VS Seeker. And let's grab Hex Maniac and Lysandre. Yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. I mean, I really don't think it will truly impact the game overall because I think my opponent might just end me this turn. But at least I have the option of having a Choice Band Kukui Giga Hammer knockout on my opponent's Lycanroc. And Carbink comes down. That's really doesn't matter. Yeah, so, I mean, yep, there's the end. So, honestly, I was expecting that, because whenever, I don't think I've ever gotten to actually abuse an Algorithm GX, because every single time I've played that, my opponent has ended me. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's 1000% the correct play to make, but it's just like, please, aww. So my opponent has his Lycanroc completely powered up. My Metagross is in 2-shot range. So what I'm actually going to do is attach to the active. How do I want to do this? So let's play the metal and then manually retreat, because I have 3 Geotech systems. So let's just go ahead and manually retreat, get that thing out of harm's way, force my opponent to have a Lysandre, bring up this Metagross, triple Geotech system onto it in order to be able to Giga Hammer for 160 damage, which is not a knockout. I mean, it's not quite a knockout, but I mean, it's significant damage. And yeah, he can hit this Metagross, but then all I have to do is just retreat into my other one on the bench, and yeah, so I'm in a good spot unless even if he Lysandres, I still have, it'll be able to reset my Giga Hammer. So, oh, thank the Lord, there's no Lysandre in there. I think that's what my opponent was playing the VS Seeker for. He was like, oh, if I just Lysandre that thing up. Nope, there's no Lysandre in there. He Claw Slashes, hits me for 130, and there's even a Max Potion. So now I'm just going to retreat out of harm's way, play that Max Potion onto one of my Metagross. It really doesn't matter which one. I just like the one on the left better, I guess. I'm playing the Psychic Energy onto Dhelmise because I might have to use Anchor Shot in order to clean up a KO at some point on like a Lycanroc. Well, on obviously a Lycanroc, because Carving's going to go down in one hit. But I'm going to start slowly powering up Dhelmise. I mean, only with manual attachments, because obviously I want to Geotech system with my Metagross to my Metagross. And I mean, as long as I can just power it up slowly in the background, like I'm really not... I don't need the manual attachments anywhere else. Like I just don't need that, plain and simple. My opponent is going to crunch me, 150. That's fine-ish. That's actually a little bit annoying because now I can't manually power up my Dhelmise. But hey, I'll be able to Max Potion up my other Metagross, and then Sycamore away my hand, see what I can get. Well, I get a Choice Band, so that's nice. Let's go ahead and manually retreat into my other Metagross, into my Choice Banded Metagross, triple Geotech system onto the active, and I need a manual attachment this turn in order, well, next turn, after my opponent crunches, in order to be able to attack, because otherwise, and yeah, I'm just going to thin out my deck a little bit. Ultra Ball, just grab the Lele for... Actually, you know what? I could even potentially Olympia, but I think the play is Ultra Ball for the Metang, and then Ultra Ball get rid of the Metang for the Lele. That way, I mean, I'm thinning my deck of one more card, and yeah, so now I'm in an even better spot if my opponent decides to end me down to 2. I have a deck full of cards that I can use, and just barely missed out on the KO. Just a little bit. Heck, even Vulpix could take the knockout if it wanted to. But Lycanroc, see the Scorched Earth come down. Really don't think it'll help him all that much. Okay, we do see goes for the Accelerock. That's fine. And you know what? I might end this in style with... Oh, I was going to end it in style with Dhelmise. But unfortunately, my opponent just attacks and then leaves. So there's that. An unfortunate twist to the game. Well, not really a twist, but an unfortunate ending. We weren't able to end it with style points. But either way, Did not face a Garbodor deck, which was the one deck that I was hoping we'd go up against, because this deck actually has a decent matchup against it if you play slow enough. So, regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.